Yes, we are online. Yeah, we are live now. Hi, thanks everyone for joining us in the afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks everyone attending our sessions. Talk about the violations of during this MCO period, rest and remand. The purpose of we having to talk online today is basically to create a legal awareness to the public, and awareness to everyone. Today we have a special guest today, Mr. Satya.
Jason.
Yes.
I can't see. You check your website, go or not? You check first.
Oh, is it? Okay. Dennis, can you check?
You have to
Are we on live?
Yeah, you're live. You're live.
We are live. We are live.
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, we are live now actually. Yeah.
Right? I can't see lah.
Yeah, we it's black, is it? It's dark. Oh yeah.
Okay.
We are on live now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, as I say, thanks everyone for joining us. Today we have special guest Satya is joining us today from Satya Lee and Co. and Dennis Lim from Jason Co and Co. Both practicing solicitor. I believe Satya is in the line of general litigation and criminal as well. He's a very extensive experience in this line, general litigation and criminal practice, and together with Dennis Lim as well in a general lead and also criminal litigation as well. So now come back to the topics today. Basically, we wanted to highlight the topics on the arrest and remand, simply because we notice in the newspaper there is a past reported the amount of people who got arrested is about 13,000 in total. It is surprisingly high, and I think it is our duty as a lawyer during the lockdown period to come out and tell everyone how does this law to be complied and to be observed, so that people have more aware of what they do when they are leaving their home during this MCO period. Now, there are things that we're going to talk about is, along the way, from the time that you leave home, what should you do, and and subsequently there will be arrest and remand and go to court. So we're going to highlight all this area. And before we start, we're going to talk about some house rule. Now, the sessions is going to be interesting because we have Satya together with us today, special guest, and we're going to spend about 30 minutes to talk about what basically about the law, about your rights, and proportionate. Both of them will talk about all the arrest and remand, and then we will leave about 15 minutes to the public. You can actually do up the posting comments for your questions. So basically, the rules is very simple. Stage 1, we're going to have a talks for 30 minutes, and the stage 2, we're going to leave to the public for Q&A sessions, 15 minutes. Now, let's start with a simple general questions or maybe simple scenario that people might face nowadays. Now, everyone will want to leave the house, okay? So if a person who leave their home during this MCO period, they will drive out, or they're going to ride the bike out from the house, and along the way, no matter which destination you go, they will see roadblock. Okay, the police will have put up a stand, and they have operations, and they will check where do you move, why are you leaving from your home. So at that instance, people are queuing up and stuck in the jam. When it reaches your turn, when the police ask you to hang down the window and start asking you, hey, Tuan, nak ke mana ni? So how do we answer this? How should we expect to answer, or what things that as an ordinary citizen, knowing the MCOs are in place, so how do we actually address the Tuan and tell the Tuan where are we going? So perhaps I think Dennis can get the ball rolling and telling us how do we tell the police when we've been stopped during this MCO period.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Okay. First and foremost, when you have been stopped by police in the roadblock, first thing you have to notice is that is the police in a uniform or is the police not in a uniform? If the police is not in uniform, you have to request for an identification card from the police, or what you call it, the police authority card. All right, this authority card itself, they varies from colors. For the, it has red, blue, yellow, and then you have to be aware of the red police authority card, because
Yeah.
those are what we call it the suspended police officer. There's the second thing that you have to take note is that his ID itself, and his name. So in the event that
Yeah.
anything goes haywire, you can jot down his name and his ID.
All right.
Okay.
So Dennis have highlighted to us. Yeah. Further to that, yeah.
Yeah, you may continue.
Okay. Because it will be in a situation where in the dark, or probably people are not in uniform and start asking your IC and so on. But let's say we refer to the common people who travel along the way, and then people are start queuing up for the checking. So how about a scenario where you will be stopped by the police in the roadblock?
All right.
Did anyone experience of being questioned? But we see a lot of cases lah.
Okay. Once you've been stopped by the police, the first question that you have to ask police that, are you under arrest? Or you may say in the Malays that selamat petang tuan, anything that I can help you? Is there anything? Maybe the police just want to, let's say in an MCO period, the police, they might just want to know where you're heading. Are you heading to clinic? Are you heading to restock your grocery? In any event, as a citizen of this country, Malaysia, you ought to have give a full cooperation to the police. I believe the police themselves also will be happy if you can know where you're going, because they are mainly doing their job.
Yes. Okay. So now there is a questions asked about what if they are not cooperative. I mean the person himself are not cooperative, and what would be the consequence if any citizen are not cooperative during the the roadblock and so on?
Okay.
Not cooperative. Let me clarify. Not cooperative
Alright.
as in do not wanted to disclose names, do not want to be cooperative. When the police ask one ke mana pergi, and then you are not actually cooperative and telling where you're heading to. So I think the public must know that they must be aware if they are not cooperative, what is the consequence?
Okay, in these circumstances, we have to be aware that, does this non-cooperative or disobedient, is it a form of obstructing the police from carrying out their duty? If we as a citizen is obstructing the police from carrying out their duty, this is itself is an offense under the penal code, and then the police themselves may arrest us. Arrest can be in many types of form. It can be by words of subjugating, which is like the police bring you to the nearest balai police. You also can handcuff you, and many forms of way. Again, we emphasize that unless there's a need to be wary, we as the citizen of Malaysia have to give our full cooperation to the police whenever the time arrives.
All right. So I think the public have to take note that you have to first, Dennis have highlighted that you have to be cooperative with the police when you've been asked to, to be cooperative. So now we go into more practical sense that, there must be a reason that you are leaving home. The general one is buy grocery, but you don't travel 20 kilometers away from your house to buy grocery, right? I mean, most people will have grocery shops around the tamans and so on, but you have to give a valid reason. But for people who travel more than 10-kilometer radius, right? So then they have to produce, or they have to give a very reasonable, give a reason, a sensible reason that you wanted to travel. Is it due to some emergency, or do you have a document in hands? Is that some guideline that you can tell us? So either Satya, you can also chip in to tell us, what to prepare when you really want to go out from your during this MCO period.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you, Dennis. Okay, you see, although the radius was 10 kilometer, it's not necessary you must travel up to 10 kilometers. The police also look into it, the emergency, where you want to go. You just say you want emergency is dead, medical treatment. Then you travel more than 10 kilometers. Maybe you need to get a letter from the police or some supporting document to say that you can travel more than 10 kilometers because it's due to emergency. There's a situation where I can give you a scenario, a case law. Say that recently there's a private university student was jailed for 7 days and fined 800 ringgit for leaving home and to present a cake and she had baked for a boyfriend. Okay, she only traveled 800 meter, but the boyfriend is fined 1,000 ringgit because he traveled 8 kilometers from his house to her house to test the cake. So although the law says 10 kilometers, that's not necessary. You must travel 10 kilometers. You must have a valid reason. Okay. If you're traveling like to test a cake, it's not because the government trying to protect from the spreading the disease. So therefore, I think there must be very, very cogent reason as such date or emergency. If you want to travel, I mean, like you say, Jason, it's not necessary for them to travel 10 kilometers to buy a grocery. They can buy a very nearby because there's a lot of shops. So I think
Right.
is the reason why they're restricting the law, because when they impose 1,000 ringgit for those who violate the law during the second phase, a lot of people take granted. But when they enhance the third phase, where it's more serious, where say that not more than 2 years or fine or both. If they're a repeat offender, they can go second offense, not more than 5 years or fine or both. And sometimes it can go with parallel with a penal code offense as well. It's not necessary must go under, because the act that governs the thing is Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Act 1988. It's not necessary they'll be charged under that particular act. They can go under penal code. For example, there was a group of boys who were playing football, and there's in Batu Gajah recently there was 3 people playing golf. They was charged. They were charged each of them charged for 1,000 ringgit and jail 3 days each of them for playing golf. And that was investigated under Penal Code Section 269 for committing a negligent act likely to spread infection of disease dangerous to life. So there's a lot of things must be looked into it if you want to travel.
Yes, true. I think that we thank you for the comments that provided to us, Ahmad Adam. Basically, he's saying that I'm staying in one of the red zone in PJ. So usually the authority will ask the proof of receipt, utility bills, bila pergi pasar raya beli barang. Okay, they even check the date and time to stamp of the receipts. Okay, so I think this is it is a preparation for somebody who leave. Yeah. So with that, I think come back to. So you have something to say, is it? Satya, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Sorry. Just say you are staying in Segambut, but your IC shows that you are from Kanga, Perlis, or Perak, some other state. So therefore, you must carry a proof of your electricity bill or water bill. You show that your name reflects that. You have to prove that you are only going that particular area to buy, if nearby. So if you're carrying an IC but you're staying somewhere, police have the right to arrest. To arrest you.
Correct, because I think the arrests come into play when there's a violation. But we will go to that in a minute. So come back to the producing and by advising people to get ready when you are leaving your house, because many people have many reasons to leave house. Not necessarily because of buying grocery, but there also people are working. Certain sector has been fall under the essential list, and they will be start working on it. Of course, if you are for the purpose of working, from what we have observed is you have to have the authorities approval that your industry is allowed to work. And of course, you must have a physical copy of a letter to produce before the police, rather than a handphone WhatsApp or handphone soft copy. Yeah, because if not, if the police is lenient, they will ask you to make a U-turn. Otherwise, he will subject you for a breach. You will then subject to the the breach of this MCO, the violation of the act. So for the general public out there, if you are getting ready yourself to leave home and there's no choice but you have to leave your house to reach certain destination for whatever purpose, it has to be first. You have to be legal. You think you have to be prepared, and before you leave home. So I think we have covered the situation where one people who are approaching the roadblock, and then when the police ask, we have also get themselves ready. So what if they are not ready? Because there are 13,000 people out there has been arrested. For surely they couldn't produce any documents to prove. So now we are seeing people have been arrested because they are not obeying the rules, observing the rules or the act. So now what next is people got arrested. So what next? So if I'm in the general public, I will be worried if I have to reach destination, but I got arrested. So what next now? Maybe Dennis, you want to share with us? So the police will say, okay, ikut saya pergi balai. So sekarang kita nak tangkap. So
Okay.
What is the rights? You can tell us the rights of a person who's been arrested, and also what do we expect?
Okay, first and foremost, when you have been arrested by the police and we brought to the nearest by police, the police themselves will have police themselves will have take down a statement from you. This statement is what we call a Section 112 statement. But before giving this statement, you actually have the right to seek for a legal representative or lawyers to accompany you when you are giving this statement. This is what we call, it's under the Article 5 of our Federal Constitution. And this itself is codified under Section 28A, is it? Under the CPC, Criminal Procedure Code. And then if let's say in the event that the lawyer still not arrive and they insist on taking your statement, there you can choose to remain silent, saying that saya tidak akan menjawab apa-apa soalan sehinggalah peguam saya sampai.
How about Satya? Do you have anything to add in terms of arrest?
I mean, like Danny said, they have the right. The main thing is that to just concur what Danny said is they have the right to call their immediate family member or their lawyer. These rights can't be. It should be granted by the policeman.
Okay.
This is their right.
So the next question is, people wanted to know, I am arrested, so I record my statement, fingerprint and so on. How long they will then detain me from this arrest? Is there a rules out there, telling us that a certain time frame that I can be released, or I will be further subject to investigation? Perhaps any of you can just share with us, people who got arrested, the timeline, family are getting worried, and of course a lot of listeners today also wanted to know, while they are in the police custody, how long they will be detained.
Okay, all right. First and foremost, under
Dennis,
it's under Article 5 sub 4, is it, of the Federal Constitution? Basically is that if a person is detained by the police, and then he has the right thing is enshrined in our Federal Constitution to be brought before the magistrate court, not less than 24 hours. And then from there on, the magistrate his charge will be read. Sorry, is Mr. Satya want to add anything to this?
I know. I think you have covered that.
You covered that.
But like you said, the 24 hours, of course, we can't be denied. Sometimes there might be release on a police bail as well within the 24 hours upon taking the 112 statement. But that's upon a discretion of the police. But then if the statement is not taken, they need more investigation, then they'll go for first remand. Then if first remand is not completed, then they'll go for second remand.
Yeah. So I think we in a practical sense, when police giving you a bill, that means you'll be able to leave and go home. In practical sense, we also address it as a jamin mulut, right? So the police will always say, okay, saya bagi you jamin mulut. There was some form they were giving to you. Your investigation is complete. You just wait for the decision. If the decision is to charge you in court, then there will be a date fixed that you have to attend to court. But there are some instances that investigation cannot be complete within 24 hours. You will be then subject to present in court as well to conduct to go through the remand hearing. So during the remand hearing, of course, the police will give sufficient reason. I'm just focusing on the violations of this MCO. They will first ask for 3 days maximum. Other than that, if the second attempt of the remand, if it's some complicated investigation involved, then that could be a further of 4 days. So that makes up to 7 days. But of course, you as at any point of time, once you got arrested, you have the rights to appoint your own lawyer, to attend a remand hearing, to mitigate, and of course to act for you during that time. That is as far as the arrest goes. So now people obviously arrest, investigate, and they found out that this friends of us has been been charged. That they have ample reason, ample evidence to show that there's a violations of MCO. So what happened? These people were brought to court and will be attend to court, and the police will say, okay, dituduh di mahkamah, pendakwa raya akan hadir, then you have to come to court. So now we are heading to the court scenario. So imagine now we are going to the courtroom now. So what would the general public will wanted to know? What happened if I'm attending the court now? So what is something that I need to be observed when I'm present in court? I never go to court in my life, but because of this MCO now I am present in court. So perhaps both litigation and criminal lawyers go to court every day, so you can enlighten us on the scenario, the atmosphere in court. So what do we what is the offender, or we call it the suspect, would be expected when they first present in court? When the case call up.
Okay, because thank you, Jason. During this MCO, the court is locked down, but the court is still operating for the MCO violators. That's at this juncture, because it was catered for that. You see, if they are brought to the court, if they need to get a lawyer to represent them, because there's a two scenario. When they appear in court, the first time, the charge sheet will be read to them, and the interpreter will read the charge sheet to them, and they have to make sure that they understand, and they have to make a decision whether they want to mengaku salah atau tidak mengaku salah. Okay. Then there's a two scenario. If you mengaku salah, then your lawyer will be doing a mitigating. Mitigating means is reasons to show to the court that you should not be punished with every sentence. So you should be maybe with a fine only, but it's still up to this discretion of the judge to what the sentence. But usually on the MCO violation, it depends how severe is your violation. Like I told you, there's many cases were given fine, but there's other scenarios. Maybe there was jail for 3 days, like the scenario that girl which looking the private music girl which girlfriend where she baked the cake and went on that's the cake for the boyfriend and he came. I mean, this is an unnecessary call based on the facts and the situation of the case. So there'll be that. For tidak mengaku salah, I think maybe Dennis can explain more on that.
Okay, yes, right. Thank you. For tidak mengaku bersalah, basically is that the accused, or what you call the OKT itself, is trying to claim trial. So that when himself is trying to claim trial, the judge will fix a next date, what you call the court mentioned date. And then from that point onwards to the next court mentioned date, it will be in imprisonment. But he could apply for a court bail. Court bail itself will be subject to the court discretion. And normally, I think in a litigation, in criminal cases, the amount of the bail itself is determined by the court, and the prosecutor, the DPP side, obviously they will ask for a suitable bail. They will cite is a public interest, and if the OKT itself has any defense counsel, they will plead. Otherwise, they will say that look, this is their first offense, or like what Mr. Satya say, is it's like cake, the cake case. They say that it's merely just youngsters, youngsters. They do not know what's the violation, and they are merely just trying to consume the birthday cake. So they will plead for a lower bail.
True.
And yeah,
Okay.
and I just add on in that, let's say that in any event, if the bail was excessive, the council themselves can file a, what you call a revision application on the sentence
Yes.
itself.
Okay. So thank you everyone. There are people are coming in, and also questions are coming in as well. So for those newcomers, I'm just wanted to uh, observe on the house rule that we are going to share about this arrest and remand pointers for half an hour, and then we will leave 15 minutes for Q&A. So those people who have posted the questions, those just bear with us. We will then go through your questions again when the times for open up for Q&A. And there are some questions already posted, so we will look into that in a minute. So come back to the remand hearing. Remand hearing basically, like what Satya has said, just to do a little bit quick recap is that people will then brought to court, and then you will be asked to choose whether you mengaku salah or tidak. But the thing is, if once you mengaku salah, means that you be prepared to take in the sentence, the punishment where we are talking about. Of course, you will be given a notice about how serious is the punishment will be, posed upon you. Otherwise, if you are not really guilty, tidak mengaku salah, then of course, like you say, that there will be a bail application. Otherwise, you will be detained in the detention camp. So, but then I will advise the public also get ready for the preparations of bail sum, because bail sum we are looking at is cash to the court, and also the bailor. So somebody have to bail you out. So these are some preparation that general public can prepare for your family members who got arrested. Now, we have come to this point by you will be remand. You will be not free, not guilty. Okay, now we go stretching it further. What if the decision is not in your favor? You are not, of course, you are not be guilty. So you go for hearing. It is not in your favor. So what can you do? At the lower court level, decision is not in your favor. Is it the end of everything that I have to subject to the punishment, or what is there? Is there any other avenue? Yeah.
Hello.
So
Yeah.
Satya, you can tell us.
Okay, see, that's not end of the day or doom. Like you're, oh my God, I'll be in prison for 5 days, 6 days. But there's a case scenario. There's a early stage of the MCO. In Perak, there was a two fishermen was charged for. They are trying to, because they are living a day-to-day basis. Due to that, they're doing a fishing, and there was charged, and there was every sentence they have to send to prison. But immediately the lawyer file a motion, file a appeal further, file a notice of appeal further to the High Court, and the High Court gave them a punishment of community service. They substitute with community service. So it's not a end of the day. You can immediately file a appeal to the court, to the High Court, for this matter to be speed up, to appeal against the decision was given by the magistrate after going a full hearing. But at the same time, the lawyer, whoever the particular suspect's lawyer, can find a stay. But whether stay will be granted, either can be applied orally, stay pending appeal, or stay file a motion, but that is still pending up to the judge discretionary, whether she want to give a stay pending the appeal.
Yeah. All right. So what we have observed here now is it is not end of the day if the decision is not in your favor at the lower court. Of course, there is always an avenue to appeal to the High Court level. We are looking at the strictly on these violations of the MCO. That is an avenue for appeal. Now, come back to this the whole topic itself. Basically, we have covered all the basic thing, and then we try our very best to present to everyone here at the most possible understood way. Then now we have come to, I think half an hour is up. There are some questions on at the side here. So there is questions asked about can we apply for. So now we are officially going to the Q&A. So for those people who wanted to ask questions, I think everyone can start. Although we are not interact in terms of oral, but you can just type it out for us so that we can observe on your questions and we start reading it out and we have panels to answer. So now the first question is this: can we apply for family members at interstate to come over to Subang Jaya near PJ Read Zone via Gerak Malaysia application? So this is the questions. Can we apply for family members at interstate to come over to Subang Jaya, bracket, near PJ Read Zone via Gerak Malaysia application? Okay. So when it comes to questions, then the panel can just take it up if you think you'll be able to share with us your point.
Okay, just a quick one on this Gerak Us. Gerak Us was introduced by the government, whereby the people can apply within from 25th April onwards until 1st May, where they'll be assessing the thing. But this is from people to travel from hometown to the city. So as you can see the news, it's like from hometown to news. So the application is open from 26 April until 29 April. So people, it's just for purely for people from hometown to city travel only. And there's if they want to travel within from the if they want to travel from the hometown to city, they also must have a reason. So details including the final destination and the number of people that will be traveling with them. And plus, you see, they've given a date as well. There's a 3-day period whereby the 1st May is from Perak, Johor, and Kelantan. 2nd May is from Perlis, Kedah, Pulau Pinang, Melaka, and Pahang. 3rd May is from Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, and Terengganu. So, regarding back to the question, this is still within the Klang Valley. So, in my opinion, I don't think so. Gerak Malaysia will be applied, but I think they can apply to nearest police station, or they can have a letter to support why the family members need to travel over there. But that depends on the situation as well, whether it's a medical or anything.
Yes, thank you, Satya.
That's from my point of view.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now there is a next question is about this. The question is MCO violation, 3 days jail term. So MCO violation, 3 days jail term. Is it recorded as criminal case? So I think put in a simple sense is that that will be a violations anyhow of this MCO. I will be then subject to the punishment, no doubt about that. Question is, would it serve a criminal records in my in my entire life? So I think this is the questions that that some of the public would wanted to know. Whether there is a criminal record or not. I think this is the questions. Yeah. Anyone can feel free to take it up.
Dennis, perhaps you can go.
Okay. All right. First and foremost, for offences, whether it is serve a record, we'll look at the nature of the offence itself. Okay. Offences that doesn't serve a record, we can look at offences like we call the case summon. Case summon is where we only pay a certain fine. Okay. So here in this case, MCO violation MCO, does it serve a record? If you look at the section 25 of the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, the Director General or any public officer may compound any offence or fine for some money not exceeding 1,000 ringgit. So I think in this scenario, we have seen cases where a lot of folks out there who have got violated have to pay 1,000 ringgit. Some to the extent is that they doesn't want to pay because you have 14 days to pay, if you're not mistaken. If not, if the 14 days lapse, you will be brought before the court. There, you will be put in your case will be heard before the magistrate. then the pertunjukan akan dibaca basically. And therefore there on, you don't have any luxury of paying this fine.
All right. Okay, thank you, Dennis. Thank you. All right, so let's say we go further to further questions to let me see. Okay,
Jason, just to
there
add
are
on,
questions. Yeah, sure,
Jason,
you
just
can.
to add on for the first question, I mean, they can apply
Yeah.
to Gerak Malaysia. They can try to apply by because it's still a gray because they say from Kuala Lumpur to Selangor on the 3rd May. So I'm not sure because if you're within KL, why you want to travel? So I'm not sure. Maybe perhaps they can apply. If the application is not successful, then they can have the supporting documents. Because from my personal opinion, I think there's no reason for them to apply, but there's no harm for them to apply because the 3rd May have stated that from Kuala Lumpur to Selangor. So it could be for that MB. So it's no harm for them to apply for that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay, sure. So the next question is, okay, I will rephrase the question is in this manner. Basically, if you are violating the law, just like the heading, the banner that's showing the violation of MCO, so isn't this condemned to the law, condemned of court or something like that? Yeah. So I think, when you're violated, it is obvious that is the rules in place, the regulation is in place. It is obviously you will be then subject to arrest from what we have observed. And 13,000 people, serve the records, huge records of people who got arrested, in the past weeks during this MCO period. So I think it has come to an alarm to people out there. If ever you're going to leave your home, it must be a practical reason and on an emergency basis. Otherwise, you have to observe and stay at home, stay safe. That is what we are to comply with the MCO. It is a movement control order. We are being subject to this movement control. So we have to, other than the essential items, essential lists of industry are allowed to move. Okay, so we are still waiting for more questions to come in. We can continue to talk about if you have any case study to share with us. Yes, Satya.
Okay, Jason. Just to add on what the question that you wish you told earlier, but you see, many people might be puzzled outside that why certain individuals or certain people statement has been taken, but they're not been charged for MCO, but other people has been charged. So this is to subject for investigation. You see, this procedure is that the police will they'll arrest particular suspect, they'll investigate, then they'll send the file IP to to AG for them to decide to charge or not. But the public must be aware that there's no any timeline for any for criminal offense. There's possibility is that there could be charged later part. Maybe the investigation is not completed. So there's so much of reasons. There's a circumstances can be taken into account on this. Now, can you hear me now?
Just Hello? Now the lines are breaking actually.
Okay.
Can you repeat again? Yeah. Can't hear you.
So you see,
correct? Yeah.
Now sorry.
Yeah.
The internet connection is not stable. So many people using. So you see, so many people by pondering why these particular individuals are not being charged, but the public must have a mindset say that because the criminal offense do not have any particular timeline like a civil. So there might investigation is not completed or they're still in investigation. So there's a possible chances that can be charged later part after the MCO is finished or after a few months. So just do that. I'm done. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. Dennis, you want to add on something?
Okay. I think first and foremost, we have to take advantage of this Gerak Malaysia app. Basically, is that the reason why this app was great in the first place was so that any citizen of Malaysia out there that wishes to travel for more than 10 kilometers radius let's say they have to go for clinic to stop out the essential, or for certain emergencies like the close kin pass away. So this is the reason why the Grab Malaysia app was developed at the first instance.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Satya and Dennis, to share with us on the answer. I think there's further questions here. So basically, it's this: if someone who is renting a room in KL and the landlord demands they leave because cannot pay the rent anymore, so they need to move to their friend's house. So can this constitute an emergency circumstances for traveling? Now, there's a story behind that. Somebody are moving around now. These are the situation that we've been posted to us. So what do you guys think?
You see, when they say emergency, is the first and foremost. There's a lot of circumstantial need to be considered over here. First, if the landlord demands the leave because they cannot pay the rent anymore, so that the tenant and landlord must come to an agreement saying that during this MCO I can't be traveling this and all the reasons, because first we're not working, not getting paid, and we can't. The first and foremost, I can't travel, and it's very difficult to get a place to stay at the moment because everything has been stalled at this juncture. So that is it need to be a compromise between the landlord and tenant. If on top of that, if the landlord says that you can't stay, you need to move to other place, it depends on how you want to convince the police officer in these circumstances. That's all. That's all I can say. Dennis, maybe you can add on.
Okay, I think I think this is where the Grab Malaysia apps or the written application to the police comes into the picture. So during this point at the time, let's say the person affected, he was evicted, not evicted, I mean he lost his staying place. Could he or she make an application to the police or via the Grab Malaysia app to get this permit to travel for more than 10 kilometer radius in order to stay with his friends or family? So this, I think it will be on the discretion of the police officer or public officer themselves. Like I say again, it's a case to case basis. What are the prerequisite, or what are the factors, exemplary factors that allow her to travel or
Yeah.
to stay with her family?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to add on a bit in terms of tenancy issues about tenancy. I believe this question comes in when when the due date is up. Nobody can actually terminate the tenancy agreement immediately. For the matter of facts, anybody who enter into an agreement for renting a property is called tenancy agreement. Definitely, they will subject a period of time. If there is an obvious breach, you have to send a letter of demand and given ample opportunity to people to move out. So from what we have observed now, the 18th of March is where the first locked up MCO in place. So 1 month later is April. So I'm taking that you didn't pay your rent on the 1st of April or 7th of April. So where there is a breach happened back then. So now the usual circumstances is that the landlord will then give you a letter of demand. Look, which is hardly, because we can observe many people start talking, negotiating for half rent and so on and so forth. There must be ample reason that you can actually avenue to talk about this, or you just defer the payment and so on. Now that is the avenue to take. If there is no such avenue for you, you have to leave because there is an obvious breach of the tenancy agreement. But it doesn't mean that you have to immediately leave the house. That is ample time. Even though it is not subject to a tenancy agreement, it is still monthly tenant. You still have 1 month to move from your place. But then if whatever it is, on the 12th of May, you still don't think you can move out, or you're forced to move out, like what Dennis told us, that probably the authority is where you have to heading to, make an applications for approval to move. Because I think move by then is not a person, it is the entire belongings move to another place. So application is needed, yes. Okay, further to that, I think there are questions also. Question is this, if I'm arrested by the police during the MCA, well, can we contact any lawyers here present today? Not to mention names, but yeah, that I will leave it to you. So the audience is asking, basically the audience is asking, if I got arrested, can I call you, Satya? Can I call you? Can I call you, Dennis?
Of course, they can call us because I mean, from my side, I'm willing to help them as much as possible I can. Because although I'm not allowed to go out to during this MCO, but when there's duty calls, so we need to serve our clients or whoever that we know.
Yes. Yeah, I think the panel today also litigation background with criminal experience. I believe all of us here are capable to take on cases like this. But we are not doing a publicity. We are just sharing the knowledge here. So, but of course, to answer the questions, yes, you can contact us. You can reach us via the Facebook or WhatsApp or any other channel. Okay, now there is a further questions. This is, does company have the rights to terminate MCO violators? Now, this is a tricky questions, or it's also a good questions. Now, if the employee, we are looking at the employee who have violated the MCO, with that, the employer have the rights to terminate the employee because you violate the MCO. Now, it is partial related to employment matter. Employment.
Yeah. All right. I think first and foremost, we have to look in. I believe it's a case-to-case basis. First and foremost, we have to look at their contract of employment. Is there a certain clause that say that in the event that this transpire, is it amounts to let's say a termination of this contract? Because as I don't know whether is that some contracts out there they have this. We wanted their employees to behave in a certain standard or a benchmark yardstick that is set by the company. But does this also amount to unfair dismissal in the event that the contract was terminated? So again, it's a case-to-case basis. And case law will come handy in this scenario.
Yes. Satya, you want to add on or?
I mean, just adding to what Danny said, is to case basis, because but they do not have the right to just terminate just like that because they are because they are MCO violators. If they do that, it's unfair dismissal, like Dennis said. So it's still case to case basis. But end of the day, they can't terminate just like because you're MCO violators, I'm terminating you from my company. They can't do that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. The questions have just stopped, so I did not receive any new questions. But our time is almost up. I think it is up. 45 minutes is up. Then I will leave a little bit of time to both of you. Maybe have some last words to us. Some of the things that you want to tell us, pertaining to this violation of MCO, arrest and remand. So let's start off with maybe Dennis. You can any last word from you before we end?
All right. Last word is that whenever you are in a police roadblock, be patient, and then always give full cooperation to police.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Dennis. So how about Satya? Have anything to say?
I urge that the public, if you all need to travel, that's necessary. If there's emergency, then please. If no, please just you need to buy groceries. You don't need to go for 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers. Just get like Jason said. You can get it. There's a lot of shops, supermarket. You can get it over there. It's like the entire nation, the entire world is suffering from the COVID-19 lockdown. So it's time for us to take care of our own self. If you take care of yourself, the spread will be less. The only last word I can say that, like PM said, duduk di rumah diam-diam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Satya. Thank you, Dennis, for your time, and share with us on these very insightful topics. And I think it is very beneficial to public because knowing the figure out there is a huge people who got arrested. And hopefully many people have observed also looking at our video, and it helps extend helping hand to the general public. So I once again, we want to thank everyone who attended to these sessions, and hope it benefit everyone. And we will meet again. I'm sure there will be a series of talks we planning to do with many other lawyers as well. So I think the whole objective is to during this lockdown, lawyers are stay within the four walls. We just do our very best to reach out to the public, so everyone have an equal rights to legal access. Now, is there any other? Okay, so basically that's about it. That's about it. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you Satya, and thank you Dennis Lim again. All right. I'll see you.
Thank you,
We
Jason.
catch up
Thank
again.
you, Dennis.
Yeah, stay healthy.
Okay.
Stay home.
Stay healthy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye everyone.